All right, we're live, we're recording. And like always, man, I love to start this off with some positive focus. So, TV, give me something good that's going in your life, personal, professional, don't matter. Give it to me.
Um, I've learned how to cook.
Nice. That's great. What are you cooking?
So I've decided to get back on my fitness journey. So I've been meal prepping, and before, I can cook just to survive, but now the food actually tastes good. You
It's something you
know?
want to eat. That's
So
awesome.
that's a win.
Cool. Congrats, man. How about you, Ed? What you got?
Yeah, I got a couple things. Number one, I'm grateful for my tribe of people, and you two are part of that tribe. And I mean really grateful for it. Like it's amazing when like-minded human beings get together. What the magic that happens is unexplainable. And there's one guy, my friend Keith. We talk every morning. And it's amazing the conversations that we have. Sometimes I'm supporting him. Sometimes he's supporting me. Sometimes he's saying, hey, why don't you try to look at it this way? Sometimes I'm saying, hey, why don't you try to look at it this way? It's amazing. That's number one. Number two, I'm grateful for this, the capture of the escaped fugitive, even though I don't live there anymore. And it looks like the dogs got him.
Wow.
And it's
Okay.
amazing what animals can do, man. They can do what sometimes what humans can't. But it looks like they took a little chunk out of his skull. And
Wow.
but Chester County folks, I'm glad that they're going to be able to sleep a little tighter tonight.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, I've been sort of following it, but I hadn't seen the update.
And by the way, I'm grateful I signed up for the EXP health coverage today.
Yeah.
So it's really good. It's really good. I'm going to send Sean Google Meet. Hold on one second.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me about that at some point. I know Lars had mentioned that it saved him like 10K like annually on that stuff.
Whoa.
So that's So yeah, I mean, there's so much to unpack at EXP, so sometimes it gets lost in the weeds. But like if you haven't looked into it, it's worthwhile. And like I know for me, it would absolutely make sense. Like if I was on the US side of things, we've got sort of a different situation out here in Spain, but in the US side of things with 4 kids, like wife, dog, like man, dental, like, it was insane how much money was going to healthcare. And so Lars is sort of the same situation, the number of kids, all that stuff.
You can multiply this any way you want. I just need myself covered. My kids are already covered with Maria. The last quote I got was $950 a month. I'm paying $400.
Wow.
With this.
Like half, man.
Yeah.
More than half. Yeah.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
That's great. That's good stuff. How about you, Christine? Give me some positive focus.
Positive focus this morning. Just reached out to a couple of investor clients. Guillermo is pushing the Diamond Street and Dave's off market on the 2500 in North Broad. I really would love to sell that. I also what do you call this, Guillermo? I reached out to Shift Capital this morning, just waiting to hear back. I'll keep you posted on that, by the way.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, hustling.
Yeah. Now listen, you keep that positive focus. Like I'm negotiating a nice deal right now, whole city block. And that's going to be turned into new construction. Last comps were like 700K, 50 homes will get built, and lots of open houses for people. So like we got over 2 big hurdles this week, and now we're just negotiating price.
Guillermo, I'll scoot over to do open houses. I have a scooter now.
Sure. See Sean on there. Hey Sean, how you doing? Give me some positive focus.
What's that?
So give me something positive that's going in your life today, day before, recently.
They put me on the spot. I guess something positive is that I am going to be like doing my onboarding on Thursday at 2.
Awesome.
So yeah, ready to get moving.
Nice. Excited to take that journey with you. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So today I'm, this mastermind we'll come in with prepared topics and stuff to talk about. And I've sort of had like 3 to 4 things ruminated in my brain, 2 sort of like on the like mindset, sort of life side of things, 2 that are like technical, how to like maybe go about your business, increase sales. But I never want me to be the guy who's dominating this conversation. So like, stop me. We'll take it a different direction. We'll flow whatever way it needs to be. I'm happy to go. And I'm sure, Ed too, let's take it wherever way we want to go. So I'll just start off the conversation because that's usually how it works. But I got to tell you, it's I usually tear through books, and for whatever reason, I'm just sort of in this stage of my life right now where I'm listening to podcasts and building new systems or refreshing systems. So I started this book a while ago, and this is the book that I'm talking about, The Last Arrow. And I'm sort of like halfway through, but I normally would tear through this book, and it's sort of a cool thing that I'm not, because I'm like, it's almost like I'm savoring it. And there was the chapter that I last read really, really hit me. And I put a post on it the other day because he talks about, it really challenges ourselves to ask ourselves the question, are we existing or are we living? Right? Are we existing or are we living? And oftentimes when he talks about, and there's a difference, right? The existing is like, existing just sort of, he frames it, we're just waiting to die. We're just going through the motions of life, waiting to die. And his whole point is like, we got to act. It's super important to take action as if our life depends on it, because it does. Like our goals are super, super important. What we want to accomplish. And I'm not talking about business, just in business, right? I'm talking about our personal lives, our health, our relationships, because it's all encompassing, right? And the other part that really hooked me was not only acting as if your life depends on it, but acting as if other people's lives depend on it, because we've got these God-given gifts. And one of the things that is so sort of like, not damning, but like would be just like sitting on your deathbed, like, man, regretting, like you didn't use those gifts, not only to serve yourself, but to serve others. Like we owe it to sort of the universe, whatever you believe in. And again, I'm not here to push any particular belief on, but universe, God, whatever it is, to use those skill sets. And it's really like when we're thinking about like our lives, really challenge ourselves. Are we just existing and just going through the motions, or are we out there living? I see you shaking your head, Ed. like you're chopping at the bit, man. I want to Ed to tell me what you're thinking, brother.
Yeah, I'm on my way to the airport. I'm flying over. I will land before this call is over to give you either a hug or a headbutt. I don't know what's but this is the real deal, man. And like, what's so cool is every week, like, whenever I speak, specifically at prisons, which I haven't done in a while, but hold me accountable to going back to Manatee Prison to speak. I tell the inmates, I love you guys, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And like, I'm going to start telling you guys that, like, literally, I'm falling in love with this group. Like the passion, the love, the commitment, the humility, the hunger. And I'll read from The Last Arrow. Before you die, live the life you were born to live. When you come to the end of your days, you will not measure your life based on success and failures. All of those will eventually blur together into a single memory called life. What will give you the solace is a life with nothing left undone. One that's been lived with relentless ambition, a heart on fire, and with no regrets. On the other hand, what will haunt you until your final breath is who you could have been but never became, and what you could have done, but never did. Wow.
Yeah.
Right. And by the way, a lot of times when we hear that, we can start to feel shame or less than, or I'm not good enough. What you talked about, G, was regret. What we can do is we can use regret as a fuel rather than going into self-pity. I should have, I wish I didn't. And I'm getting more and more real with you guys. I was in tears 15 minutes ago because last year I made a personal decision to move down here, and my daughter didn't feel included in that decision. And I was 100% wrong. 100% wrong. And I made an apology to her. Look, today I called and I said, I did not, this is regret. I'm living with regret. I hurt my baby girl. I upset my family. Like, picked up the phone. I said, I did. And as soon as I started to talk, I couldn't talk.
We love your brother, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, Ed.
And to hear my little girl that loves me, that knows me, say, it's okay, Dad.
Yeah, man.
Let regret. None of us here are perfect. We all, excuse my language, we all fuck up. But man, it's what you do next that matters. And even if that next is a year later, a month later, try to correct it right now. Use regret as fuel, man. It is empowering, man. It is empowering. And that's what, like, this stuff here, man, I can't wait to see what's going on a year from now. Professionally, personally, it's amazing. So thanks for that topic, dude. And you're a phenomenal leader, G. Like, it's awesome to watch you do what you do and bring this real stuff to this team, man. Thank you.
I appreciate you saying that, man. And listen, I wish I could take credit for it. Like, people have taught me, and you're an incredible leader as well. All of you guys are just incredible people, and I love being in partnership with you and work with you and just knowing more than just your business. But it really came up in a conversation with another agent this week, right? It's the way the universe works. Like, I'm reading this, I get on a phone call or video call with another person who's an incredible father, incredible person. And the biggest thing with this person is not taking action. We have goals every single time we get together, hasn't done the thing that we said we were going to do, right? And by the way, we all do it, right? So this is no judgment or feeling bad or none of that stuff. We all do it. And it really was getting into changing the conversation in our brain, right? Like, whatever it is, like, make regret the thing that's your superpower that you would like a way to drive you. Our conversation went a little bit like this, right? And I have a slide presentation that I do on comfort zone that I literally had teed up before we got here, just because no other reason. It was the sequence and order of the slides that I do. And literally we got on the call and it was like it's like the universe was just driving to talk about this. And it was like, man, I'm good. His time was like, I'm good. I got money coming in here. I got money in here. And I just thought, like, man, but good. What's the quote from
Good is the enemy of great.
Good is the enemy of great, man. And he's got children, and I'm like, then maybe the thing is not the money, but your child is watching you, right? It's going back to that Ed Milet piece that I asked all you guys to watch, and I quoted it, and I probably misquoted it, but he said the most insidious form of child abuse or neglect,
Child neglect.
not neglect, is a parent not living up to their fullest potential, right? Because they're watching you do what you're doing, right? It's caught, not taught. So like, take whatever motivation you need to make it and be to like, hey, fine. Like, I need to be the greatest version of myself to inspire other people, whether you have children or not, man. Like, we all have family members and friends, right? And that goes back to the line where, like, act as if your life depends on it, but also act as if others' lives depend on it, because it does. As we're driving our businesses, right? We're not doing it for money's sake. Nobody does anything for money's sake. It's what it will do for our lives, for our loved ones' lives, for what we want to do and impact our world. So that's the piece to dig into, right? And like, and the comfort zone flows into that, because everybody has a comfort zone, right? It's just the level of achievement that we reach to. Like, even the highest achievers have a comfort zone. And our first thing when we're doing something new and we're about to act, in every instance, the thing that comes up every single time is fear, right? And fear, if you remember my acronym for fear, is false evidence appearing real, right? It's never as scary as you made it up in your mind. And the other thing about a comfort zone, the thing that you want to do, the instructions to do the thing that you want to do, you can't find it in your comfort zone. It's outside your comfort zone. So you got to go out and do the thing before you know how to do it. And the best analogy for that is like learning how to ride a bike. Like, I don't know, anybody not know how to, no judgment here. Anybody not know how to ride a bike? Everybody know how to ride a bike. I don't know how recently you learned how to ride a bike, but I've been, I had to teach my kids really recently on how to ride a bike. And you can't teach them by sending them a YouTube video, right? You can't teach them like, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. Like, that's like, wah, 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 wah. Like, you got to get on the bike. You got to feel the bike. You got to feel the balance. You got to probably fall down a couple of times, right? And then get back on until you actually strike the balance and figure out the mechanics on it. But that's a perfect example of the instructions on how to ride a bike ain't sitting down on your couch or watching a YouTube video. You got to get on the bike. It's outside your comfort zone. And that comfort zone, or call it complacency, that's the thing we want to guard against in our business and our personal lives, right? Because we owe it to ourselves. We owe it more to ourselves and to loved ones to live up to our potential.
I love this action. Sean, are you afraid of heights? Yeah.
Petrified. Don't
All right, cool.
don't ask me to go on a roller coaster either. Forget it.
All right, cool.
Die.
So let's go through this exercise, because you brought something up, G. And this is about taking action as it relates to our sales and rev share. So I'm going to take you down, I don't know Center City real well, but somewhere on Chestnut. I'm going to take you up to where there's two 40-story buildings, and I'm going to throw a 2x4 across an alley. And I'm going to give you $20 to crawl across the 2x4 from window to window, 40 stories up. You doing it?
You got a better shot of getting pregnant, Ed. There's no way that's happening.
No way. How about $100?
No.
1,000?
Nope.
10,000.
No.
All right, $10,000. No.
No.
Is there any amount of money that would make you crawl across that 2x4?
No.
All right. So here we go. Your children are in the other window, and the building's on fire. You're crawling across the 2x4?
Well, I mean, Yeah, I guess I would have to, right?
Yes. So the point here is we will do, thanks for playing along, Sean. You're so cool. We will do more. And even for the people on this call, Sean and I were talking about this the other day. We will do more. The first strongest human will is the will to live. The next strongest human will is the will to help another human being. So when we get fearful of lead generating, prospecting, close, it's because we're thinking of ourselves. It's actually a very selfish thing. It took me a long time to realize that. But when I know what I'm doing is going to help you guys, or it's going to help my family, nothing can get in the way. And again, do I show up this way every day? No, I don't. No, I don't. Maybe one day I will. But when I know, when I can put in my brain, if I do this, it's going to help you guys, then all the fear goes away. If somebody called and said, why should I join Sean's Rev Share group? I'm going to go, let me give you the 35 reasons. And these are just about work that you get to work with Sean, or you get to work with Darwin, or you get to work with Rick, or you get to work with Guillermo or Twell or Christine. Like somebody says, what do I get if I get to work with you? Well, I've had a lot of practice. But a lot of times I can go, well, like, I'm not going to feel as strong. Why you should work with me is why you should work with you guys. Because I know you're depending on me. Pretty cool. Leverage.
Yeah, man, I love that. That's really powerful.
That's powerful.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was really thinking about this. because
Yeah.
you know, the earlier conversations that we've had, or multiple conversations, like my secret to life, I did this in a couple sessions ago, is life as a conversation is all made up, right? And not the thing that happened, but the meaning that we give to the thing. And so like that's really what you're talking about, right? Like, you know, that exercise was really cool. I hadn't heard that one, but like, you know, the two, but it's sort of different variation. But yeah, man, the number for me probably wasn't 10,000. Maybe there's a number long enough, but I would have hesitated my kids, right? There's no hesitation at all. So it's just creating the conversation that gets you to take action and do the things that we know that are important to us, and our goals, our values, and commitments. Very cool stuff. Yeah.
Heck, you know, guys, even if I don't have any kids, but if my cat's life was in danger, I have a 18-pound Siberian, you better believe I'm going to be saving Michelangelo for sure.
Yeah.
You do what you got to do.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, doing for others, I mean, that's the legacy part, right? You know, so we talk about regret, and so like not leaving things undone. And what's the quote? It's you know, you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want, right? And that's the key, man. You're helping people, and that's sales. You know, again, a lot of you've heard me define sales or enrollment, interchangeable, but it's doing something for somebody else's highest and best good, not my own, but theirs. Right. So when you're sitting there across the table, and you're asking somebody, your client, to take action, put that offer in, list that home at the price they don't want to list it at. They want to list it $200,000 higher than what it is. Right. It's what Ed's talking about. If you focus on that individual and what they're helping them, then you'll get them to take action in line with what they need to do. All right. Not focused on you, but on them. That's awesome stuff, man. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Cool.
I think it's also too, like when you do come from a place of contribution, whether it be like helping somebody in real estate or just helping them out with a personal issue, it makes you feel better. So you start to do better. I don't know. That's just what I think. Coming from contribution.
No, I think that's absolutely right. Yeah, for sure. Well, I know it as a coach. Like, I love teaching not only because it helps other people, but it helps me. Like if I'm teaching this stuff, it's just a constant reminder because we're human, right? We fall off the path. And so like every time that I get to teach this, and I've taught this stuff over and over in my slide presentations, I could go from memory, but like I hear it differently or in somebody else's perspective. And it's the same sort of thing as we're out there in the world, we're helping other people coming from contribution, whatever way, we're talking about the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like we're just reminding ourselves, as the beauty of this group, right? As we're having conversations about this, it's like, it's just reinforcing it. And sometimes you got to hear it in a different way. Like I love the way that Ed's presented that. Right. I'm just thinking about that visual. Like I can't even talk because I'm like, I just want to sit back and just think about it. Like, all right, where else does this show up in my life? How can I put this into action? That analogy. Where else is it not showing up in my life? Right.
As far as building, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
Oh no, I was just gonna add, like, I'm glad that we kind of got on the subject of like not doing it for yourself, because I'm sure we all like to make tons of money and everything, and like that is part of my motivation. But a lot of the times, like I gotta think like, nah, like it's not just about me, because sometimes, like you're saying, we're human. I don't feel like picking up the phone. I don't feel like calling, 20 people today. Maybe I only call 5. But what makes me want to do that more work is thinking like, okay, I can help my family. I can contribute more. If I just do this and I put more energy in, I can help everyone around me. So it's like, that's something that I've really been trying to keep in mind lately to push myself to get to that next level. So it's cool that we're like talking about this, because again, like you just said, it reinforces like, oh no, like that is the right way to, think about this and to go forward. So it's nice.
It absolutely is. And there's I'm going to butcher it, man. So I apologize. There's a story in there about a man who his mom, while she was pregnant, was using drugs, and he came out in like the worst sort of set of circumstances that you could possibly think of, that would give everybody the excuse to just crumble up and just not embrace life and achieve. And it was further from the truth, as far as from the truth in this case for this guy. Like he excelled, and the guy who's the author's writing the book asked him at one point, like, how many jobs do you think you've created for people? And I think threw out a number, 30,000, right? And that's sort of like at the heart of like, act as if your life depends, but act as if other people's lives depend on it. He had the worst circumstances growing up that you could just, all the excuses in the world to just crumble up and not do anything. But he didn't. And now he's created jobs for 30,000 people, right? What an incredible like story to think about. Like you've impacted, act with the end in mind. And we talk about sort of like the 7 habits of highly effective people. That's one of them, right? To envision your end of days, like you're on your deathbed. What have you accomplished? What have you left behind? And what a driver that is. Like when you think about that, like, yeah, Rick, man, those days that you don't want to pick up the phone. Yeah. Like if you make it about rejection or that one call or somebody cursing you out, yeah, you're not going to. But if you frame it differently and like, hey man, this is just step 1 for me to create this incredible business that I'm going to create, that I'm going to impact a bunch of people's lives, not only here, but around the world. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's like, that's what I've just been trying to, because it's like some days I'll literally call like 15 people and it's like none of them answer the phone. And it's like, yeah, that'll get discouraging real quick. But then I got to remember, like, no, like that's 15 people out of everyone. Like you got to just keep going at it. Like it's, because a lot of the times, like, especially, I mean, sales in general, but real estate, it's just a numbers game. Like if you just keep going at it, like you're going to get, and the cool thing is it only takes a couple. Like you do like 20 deals a year, especially in Philly, you're good. Like, so yeah, it's just something I keep trying to remind myself. It's like, just like, don't worry. Yeah, maybe I don't need to make 30 phone calls every day, but just a couple, 5 to 10. If I'm not feeling it, just come on. Don't worry if the last guy hung up on you or told you to piss off, whatever. Like it's all good. Call him back in 6 months.
It's a hard thing to do, man. Like even when you're having some success and stuff, we tend to focus on the things that didn't work rather than things that did work. Like I'll share some stories myself, man. Like literally this week I'm having an incredible last few months. Like business wise, we're just going rock and roll. My family's cool. I'm like settled and all this stuff. But this week I had 2 conversations on the agent attraction side of things that like I just couldn't get out of my brain, man. I had one lady here in Spain in Spanish was telling me like, yeah, your brokerage is garbage, basically. It's like it's 90% like in the cloud virtual. And I'm like, and I couldn't help myself. Like I should have just stopped right there and be like, you know what? There's gonna be some that do and some that don't. Right? Like that's not the person that I'm gonna be partnering with to grow and impact other people's lives. But I couldn't help myself.
Mhm.
I had to respond snarky Guillermo. Like, so like what the houses are virtual too, like that. Like they exist on the cloud. Like, so like, and then it just went down like all these other responses, and I'm like, why did I do it? Why? Right?
Mhm.
It sat there and like it's in my brain. I'm pissed off. Like I didn't need to do it, but I did it. Like such an idiot. And there was another guy on the U.S. side of things that like I don't know. I'm a lawyer, so I can say it. But lawyers sometimes, man, I just can't deal with them. It's just they can't get out of their own way, man. Just whatever. Anyway, but the point of me saying that, Rick, is sometimes we'll focus on the stuff that doesn't work, right?
Mhm.
Then forget about all the other things that are going incredibly well for you, right? And that's why again I love the support system because we keep each other honest.
Yeah. And
A few
that's
things that I have in my, you can't read it, but it's in my phone. And it's a question I ask myself every day, and it's a process. What needs to die in me to become the man I said I'd be? And what needs to die in me is that thing that thinks of what should I do? What needs to die in me? And this has literally been a process for me to really move forward in as it relates to EXP, rev share. I'm going to help everybody here, but this is, somebody asked me, what's your vision? 2 years, 5 people, all of them have at least 150 people in their virtual brokerage. That's it. That's what I'm doing. And this is how we're going to do it. And this is what needed to die in me. Guillermo, I want to talk to you about some business stuff, man. And here's the deal. It's going to take about 20 minutes. And if you're not in a better position to either go back to your broker and say, hey, we need to work on some things, or to make the move to EXP, then we're good, man. Is that cool? My goal is just to put realtors and leaders in a better position. That's what my job is.
Yeah.
My job is to put realtors and leaders in a better position.
Yeah.
That works for me.
That's awesome.
That works for me. Can I put you in a better position in your life, in your business, in your net income, in your passive income? And if I can't, so be it. It's all good, man. We're cool. We're cool. I think I can. And then it's up to you. If you look at it and go, wow, I'm in a better position. Sean and I were doing some practicing the other day. And this is why I want the reason why I joined Guillermo, couple reasons, 3 reasons. Number 1, I know he cares about me. Number 2, I know he can help me. Number 3, I know I can trust him. And this goes for rev share or your clients. Clients need to feel that you care about them, that you can help them, and that they can trust you. And that can go along with, Guillermo, look, my job is just to see if my job is to put you in a better position. And in order to do that, you're going to have to feel like I care about you, that I can help you, and that you can trust me. That can go to clients. That can go to rev share. It's authentic, man.
Yeah, man.
It's
I appreciate you saying that. That's incredible. But like, yeah, it's the right way to be. And I love that you brought that up, right? Because remember we did the guarantee conversation on guarantee risk reversals, that stuff with that guy.
Yeah.
What I didn't say in there is, and he hit over and over, is exactly what you said, Ed, is leave your clients better for having met you and had a conversation with you than they would before, right? Like just leave them better for having had a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And you just operate in life that way, man. It just opens up.
A lot of what we're getting into here, there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's whatever is going to work best for you. A lot of times the gurus say certain things that may or may not work for you. Like what I always want us to do is be able to dissect everything and go, what can you do every day that's going to move your business needle forward? What is that thing? What and the key word is consistent. I'm talking to myself here too, guys. Like I always am. What is the thing that I can do consistently every day? Every day. Sellers, hey, let's have a conversation. And at the end of the conversation, if you're not in a better position, then clearly you're not going to list your house. I'm in charge of the process. You're in charge of the decisions.
Yeah, man. I just circled that. Cares, helps, trusts.
I learned that from it cost me $4,000 to learn those 3 words from John Maxwell.
Yeah. That's a good one to learn from. Yeah, man. Honestly, that should, I'm gonna put that like on my wall, because every walk of life, man, like that helps. Right. I it's funny. So the second conversation that I had that didn't go the way I wanted to with the agent attraction stuff last week, it was this person being bombarded by a bunch of different people. And, you know, the trust, the word, like, I don't trust you, came across in the conversation. And like, literally, I'm like, listen, I'm not a text message kind of guy, right? Like, let's get on the phone and have a conversation and see whether we vibe and see whether we're like aligned. All this wanted to go over text message. I'm like, I don't know how I build trust over text message. So whatever, that's something that I got to work on maybe. But that's the part, like when that could be part of the problem, that people are out there not like, I do believe in my heart of heart, this is the best platform to help agents, right? That's coming from a point of caring about them, helping them. If they're not coming over, it may be trust. They're not feeling that they can trust you in that conversation. So that's a cool thing. Maybe we could dig a little deeper, like how, because we know when it works and when it doesn't work, right? We're maybe not fully attentive when we're in the conversation with them. Maybe we're coming too much from I speak. Or if we're not coming from I speak, you know, we're thinking about ourselves a lot during that conversation. It's sort of interesting. I want to dig in deeper on that trust part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of why people are like maybe giving the Heisman. They're not feeling that trust.
Sure.
I think, something with trust, like you said, because I'm not big, and we talked about this a couple days ago with like calling people, because I don't like the text either. You don't really build that relationship. You can't get an idea of the tone of their voice. They can't get an idea of the tone of yours. But like when you approach things, whether it's another agent or a client, with like a no big deal attitude, I feel like that kind of like, it takes a lot of the stress away from it. So it's like when I'm doing showings, right? I'll point out things that are wrong with the house. And I kind of make it clear to my clients, like, look, I don't really care. Like, I'm not trying to push this on you. I'm trying to be of service to you and provide value. So it's like, yeah, I'll point out things that I see wrong, So then they get the idea that like, oh, Rick's not just trying to get a commission check from me. He's looking out for me. He's keeping my best interest in mind. So it's like, I feel like when you remove that and you kind of have like that no big deal attitude, like whether you get this deal or you get this agent on your team or whatever it is, it takes a lot of that stress away. I think that helps build trust a lot easier. That's just the way I look at it. Maybe you guys could add something to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big thing, right? The internal conversations that we're having, but also that our clients are having, a lot of them are like, this guy or this gal just wants to sell my house and get a commission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, building trust is huge. And I found in my experience, sitting back and really asking a lot of questions about what their wants and needs are, right? And being willing to walk away if you don't think you can deliver what is in their best interest, right? I used to, and Darwin's heard me say this multiple times, but I used to say something along the lines of this. So when I felt like their trust was not up, like they weren't trusting or they had doubts about where I was going with stuff. And I'm like, guys, man, listen, my business is 80 to 90% repeat and referral, right? That's how I feed my family. That's how I feed the families of those people who've entrusted their livelihood on my team. And so trust me, when I'm asking you, what do you think the prices should be for your house? It's not because I'm trying to trick you, right? Or trying to tell you what you want to hear. Look, I'm going to tell you straight up what I think it is, right? I just need to know what your expectations are. And I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, because here's the thing. If I tell you what you want to hear and I don't sell your house, you're going to hate me. Like, you're just not going to like me. You're going to be miserable. I'm going to be miserable because you're going to be up my ass telling me like you're not doing your job. So like literally my whole business plan is built on telling you the truth, whether you like it or not. Right? Because at the end of this deal, you've got to be a raving fan of mine. So much so that you want to just give me referrals and repeat and wouldn't give it to any other agent in the world. And that's my commitment to you. I'm never gonna tell something to you just because I think that's what you want to hear. It doesn't serve you well, it doesn't serve me well. We're aligned on that way. And that for me, I think built trust with a lot of my clients. We're gonna say, Darwin?
Yes. So experiencing that a little bit right now, where I feel like I had trust with this current client that I'm working with, 261 with Fisher, the one that has been trying to sell that for a couple of months now. And it was under contract, now it's back on the market because the buyer couldn't get the funds to close. So now my seller is in a position where they want to sell like ASAP, right? That they're trying to sell at ASAP. We've been on the market for about 2 weeks now, back on the market. And I talked to them about a price reduction, told them the different options that they could do. So where I'm trying to get at is like, I told them that I recommend doing a X dollar amount price reduction. So a $10,000 price reduction. Now, if you want to do a 5, it might not be the same as a $10,000 price reduction. And they went with the 5, although they're like, they need to sell ASAP. But I told them, if you want to sell as soon as possible, I recommend you do this price reduction. But they went with the other one. And like in that case, like what do I do? Like, I'm trying to build trust with them, obviously, and I don't just want them to do, because they want to go with 5, but I recommend that they do with 10. Obviously I'm going to do what they tell me, but how do I build, what do I say to build trust in this case? Like, hey, if you do this, I'm not just trying to sell your house and be done with this. I'm trying to because just based on the research that I did with the market, people that are actually selling in this market after they were overpriced, they went with the 10. So that's why I recommended the 10. But they're trying to move. They're trying to be done with this. So
the answer is always going to be, what are their goals, their values, and the commitments, which is why I said ask lots of questions up front. because we don't sell real estate. We help people and we guide them through the process of the selling real estate. And there's no way to help them unless you know their goals and your values and commitments. And so let me finish up on that. If their goal is to sell it ASAP, and I'm sure there's probably more, so like I'm diagnosing this without knowing the full picture, but just follow me through this process. If their goal is to sell it ASAP, matters more to sell it quickly than extract the most value, then that part of it is like, I am in your position. I'm like, hey, you told me your goal is this, right? Sales is doing something for their highest and best good. So when you're acting from that perspective, then it empowers you to have the harder conversation, right? And so when you're thinking like, hey, you told me that you need to sell this. Why? Right? You got to dig deep. Why? Why do you have to sell ASAP? Why is that important to you? How is it going to change your life? How is this going to impact your life if it goes another month later than it is currently, right? That's what you got to uncover, because if it's truly selling it ASAP and they're not agreeing to drop it to $10,000, then we got to remind them, hey, you said this is your biggest and highest goal. My job is to align your. Sometimes people get out in their own ways. You said this, you're doing this. That's not alignment here, right? If you're doing it in their best interest, then you don't have a problem like shooting straight with them, right? That's the piece. If you're doing it for their highest and best good, then you're like, you said this is important. You got to sell it ASAP, otherwise you're going to lose the house. I'm just making that up as an example. Don't go 5,000, go 10,000. In that scenario, you feel it's almost like what Ed said, like, hey, you just changed the conversation, child money, right? It's really understanding their goal. What's driving you here? Let's take action towards your goal rather than 5,000. Because the 5,000 versus 10,000, what's that? That's fear, right? That's fear, mistrust, whatever it is. It's not in alignment with their goals. It's in alignment with their circumstances. So that's the part you go back deeper with them. And when you know their goals, not yours, you're more empowered to hit them, have that harder conversation. It's not going to be sales. It's not going to be hard, right? That's the piece.
Guillermo, I really like that. So basically, in regards for Darwin's help, you're going to reiterate the top most important things of why it has to be sold, and then end it with that statement. And this is why we need to lower it to 10K. I'm following you? Okay.
Yeah, and listen, if you didn't go deep on the goals before it, that's always an opportunity to like restart the conversation. Like, all right, let me just make sure I'm clear on your goals.
Right.
Right. Is what's more important? Is it more important to sell it quicker or higher for a higher amount of money? Why is that important to you? You can't leave it again. And you've heard me say this at the superficial, logical level. You got to get to the emotional level. How is that going to impact your life if you sell it tomorrow? What's that going to change your life? How is that going to impact your life?
So that's the situation, because I have to ask them why again. But I think the situation is that like her partner is her husband, and her partner and her husband are like having like issues because of this house. And like, I think that might be the reason like why that like they want to sell it as soon as possible, because I know I've talked to him and he's pissed, that this house hasn't sold in 6 months, right? Because of the title situation. So I'll ask him.
Yeah, I mean, and so listen, you might be getting to the deeper part here. What's driving this, right? The relationship it's tense right now because of this house situation, right? Yeah. What's the most important thing for you as together as a couple? Like, what's the most important thing, right? Is saving $5,000 more important than not arguing with the person that you love the most in the world?
Going into therapist mode there.
Oh my God.
We are. I'm just not licensed for it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you.
It's always real. You got to dig underneath and understand what's driving them. And that's cool, man. Have that conversation. Don't be afraid. Like, hey, I want to reset. Can we get together and talk about it? I want to understand. I want to make sure that I'm in line. I understand your goals fully so I can deliver the experience and the goal and the end result that you deserve and want.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's about them, right? That conversation is about them, not about you. And when you have that and you're armed with that information, then you can deliver, right? If you don't have it, you don't understand their wants and needs, you can't do anything, man. And not you, but none of us, right? We can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question on the word trust. And this is something that you guys can chew on for the next 24 hours. Do you trust yourself? That's some deep stuff, man.
Damn it.
And what I mean by that is, like, do you trust yourself as a listing agent, as a buyer's agent? Do you trust yourself as a leader, as a coach? And for me, the way that I answer that question is, and this is humility, because it took me a long time to get here. I'd go head to head with Tony Robbins on stage. I trust myself. I put the reps in. I put the work in. I've got the resume. I've stopped people from killing themselves. I've helped people go from new agent to 90 million in production. Like, there's stuff I don't trust myself with in business because I haven't put the reps in. I don't even know what an electronic lockbox looks like these days. I have no clue what it looks like. Tell me to go show a home, I'd be like, no, you want to go out of business quick? Hire me as a buyer's agent. I don't trust myself there. But think about that. Do you really trust yourself?
Yeah.
Y'all go. I hope y'all don't lose sleep over that. But
Well, now you know I am. So maybe that could be the topic for next week. Like, so let's unpack that, because I, what you said, there's areas I completely trust myself, and there's the areas that I don't, and I know, right, but that I want to be at the level to trust myself. Where do I go there so we don't get into that self-pity? Yeah, that's a good one.
yeah. So what we'll do whenever we get in person, we'll do some cool fire eating. Part of fire eating is learning to trust yourself. That's the real deal.
Awesome.
That's the real deal, man.
I can see it in Sean's eyes. She's in. Awesome. Well, I love that question. Where do you trust yourself? Let's end it with that. Think on that, ruminate on that, and I think we're going to bring that as the starting topic for our next session. See you guys next Wednesday.
Cool.
Go out there, call them great miracles.
Hey guys.
Good work. Thanks, G. See you guys.
Bye.
All right.